Welcome to Thinking Women,
the intelligent conversation show.
I'm Lou.
And I'm Mags, and welcome back to season 2 of Thinking Women.
We are so excited.
We are, it's lovely.
Can you tell? We're fizzing with caffeine, actually. We've had too much coffee.
Yeah, so whilst we've been away, we've had a new website, we've done some rebranding of our image, and lots of things have gone on. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting us in the last few months whilst we've been off air, but we're now back on.
Yeah,
and we've got lots of exciting things.
We've got now to present now. We're talking over each other. We're so excited. Anyway, we've got an amazing show lined up for you. I am chatting to Molly Hocking. Molly Hocking won the 2019 The Voice on, is it on BBC or ITV? I'm not really sure, but that huge TV show. Anyway, so she's come in, she's sung some songs for us, and a little bit of her new stuff, and she's such a lovely girl, so a lovely chat. Such a young girl as well.
I know, so it's absolutely lovely to have
and what a voice.
Her on the show. And I'm talking to Faye Edwardes, who is the founder of the Positive Living movement, and oh my goodness, that lady is positive. We have had such good vibes in the green room today. And I've also got an interview from Lucy Blenkinsop, who you may remember is our wellness expert. So Lucy will be joining us via link from her home. I think she's somewhere else.
Bournemouth, I think. Yeah, but she's got a really important health message for us, so look out for that.
Yes.
And Alison Theaker, our gorgeous Alison, talking to both of us about men, how to talk to men about the menopause. So brilliant, vital information. So yeah, what a cracking show, I would say. We have got
a cracking show. But before we get into that, we do like to have a bit of a gimmick, don't we?
Yeah.
And we have delivered, I think, this month. We have delivered
with bells
two of our favourite items, crocs and candles.
Hashtag crocs and candles.
So, should we do candles first?
Yeah, candles. So right, what have you found?
Take a look at it. Now, this is brilliant. You might remember that right at the start of our show, right at the start of season 1, we featured This Smells Like My Vagina, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's brand Goop.
Goop, yeah.
And that was quite exciting at the time. Shocking and exciting.
My godson gave me that candle for Christmas.
You've got one.
I've actually got one. I should have brought it. But anyway, yeah.
You'll be pleased to know that Gwyneth has now issued another candle, This Smells Like My Penis, which is brilliant for equality. However, this is my issue with this thing. The vagina candle is priced at $75, but the penis is $100.
So what's going on here?
Why
is the penis higher price and more value than the vagina?
Yeah. If anyone knows the answer to that question, I really would like to understand.
Gwyneth, come on. And also, I can't imagine, I've got a good imagination, I've got a vivid imagination, I can't really imagine what this candle is going to smell like.
If anyone's got one, anyone wants to send us one, then please let us know by the website, and we gratefully receive it.
What are the notes? I remember from when we first did the vagina one, I can really clearly remember reading out what all the notes were, and bergamot was a big one in Smells Like My Vagina. So there must be, anyway, we should have looked it up, shouldn't we? Anyway, we'll find out.
Let's move on. So crocs, what have you got for us?
Oh my God, don't we love a croc? This has got to be the biggest croc aberration that we've seen so far.
I think it's the biggest croc I've seen as well.
It's a crocky horror show. Anyway, this is a cowboy boot from a croc.
A cowboy croc.
I mean, not only are your feet going to sweat, you're going to get sweating right up your calves.
Yes. So the crocs are.
I mean, I'm not fond of a cowboy. Well, some cowboy boots are okay, but then hang on a minute. Not only can we get the cowboy croc boot, but some clever people are putting spurs. Are they all in Texas? I don't know where these people are who actually need these things. But look, they've got spurs, and it's a thing. All different colours. Spurs on the back of your crocs.
Right.
For riding your urban horse. I don't know. What are they riding on? Look at that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're not for me, but if anyone has got a pair of these and you want to share your photographs wearing them and enjoying them.
And enjoying your spurs. And then finally, the Western. Look at those.
I don't mind those.
I quite like those.
Yeah, those ones are the best.
We're losing it, Mags. We're starting to like them.
Yes, we might even. Well, you said you got a pair.
Yeah, well, I might bring them in the next show. I have got a pair.
Secret croc lover here. Anyway, shall we get on with our guests?
Yeah,
brilliant.
Off we go. Well, our first guest is the wonderful, wonderful, gorgeous Molly Hocking, who I'm sure you remember from the 2019 The Voice winner, no doubt. So, are you sick of hearing that? Are you sick of being introduced as the winner of The Voice in 2019?
Do you know what? No, I'm not, because that's something I'm really proud of, and it's something that will always kind of follow me. But it's not a part of who I am anymore. I'm like an artist, and I want to be an artist in my own right. So no, it's an achievement, and I'm never going to be like embarrassed by it, because I am the winner of The Voice. But yeah.
Maybe I mean just simply being defined always by that, because you have so much more going on, like you're saying.
Yeah, and hopefully I can kind of differentiate being the winner of a talent show, because it is. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit contrasting in this industry, but no, I'm very proud of it. But I am hopefully making my own route in the industry now.
I mean, you must have learnt a lot from that experience, though, because you were only 19 years old, weren't you? Is that right?
Well, I was 17 when I actually kind of properly got into it, because I needed a responsible adult.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Child.
so when I first auditioned, it was in St Ives, and they called me up and they were like, can you come to the Mayfair? So me and Mum went on the sleeper up to London, and it was just an amazing experience, and it went on, and I won it when I was 18. And yeah, it's something that I'll never forget.
What lessons have you learnt then? I mean, you must have learnt some amazing. I mean, just how to deal with pressure, surely, for a start.
I mean, I've always dealt with pressure quite well. Because I've been in musical theatre and on stage since I was about 5 years old. So I've always kind of pushed it down. I've put a face on and acted like I'm someone else. But I'm an adrenaline junkie, and I do love adrenaline. So it was a great experience. But no, now I feel like I did that. I can do anything. Like when I first went to London after I won The Voice, I didn't even know how to use the tubes. I couldn't even get in a taxi by myself. But now I'm like flying all over the world, going on cruises. And no, I entered the show as a girl, and I came out as a woman. And I think that was the biggest kind of achievement for me.
But growing up a little bit, because that's kind of what it is, maturing in the spotlight must have been a little bit tough. Have there been any downsides to becoming famous really quickly, actually, is what happened?
When I was famous. No, yeah, people still do stop me and ask for photos, and because I really appreciate it. I genuinely do. And I appreciate all my fans and everything everyone's done, and the continued support is amazing. At the moment, there's not too much pressure in the limelight, in the spotlight. And I'll never let that get to me, because I genuinely love it.
And you had that success in 2019, and then we had 2020, did we not, with lockdown? So just to have that success and that everything kicking off amazingly, and then literally everything whipped out from under your feet. How did you cope with lockdown? Did you use it as a creative time, or was it good or bad for you?
I think there were moments that were amazing, but the majority of it was, for me, it was awful. And I think this is just me being honest. Like I was scrolling on my phone every day, looking at what all the other musicians were doing.
Oh, comparing and seeing.
Yeah, and I've never done that. And I'll be like, wait, should I be writing every single day then? Writing new records? And I physically couldn't make myself do it. Even the thought of doing that made me feel sick. So I didn't force myself to do anything, actually. Because I knew if I forced myself to write songs, I would end up hating it. So I went back to it when I was ready, and that was just after lockdown lifted, and it was the best thing I could have done. But no, obviously going into lockdown, the only way I can describe it was I was gearing up for a massive release, gearing up to go back on TV. I had everything all ready and all sorted, and I knew what my journey was going to look like that year. And suddenly it was gone, you know, it just wasn't there. And there's nothing that I could have done about it. And I think that was the worst thing. I couldn't do anything to change that.
It's like your future has just been whipped away.
Yeah, and then I kind of sat with that feeling for a few months, and it was awful. I was like, right, what can I do to just keep myself going and keep my dreams alive, just keep wanting to be a musician. And it took a long time. It did take a long time. But no, I'm still here and I'm still doing what I love. So I think if I haven't given up now, then I will never give up.
That's it. Yeah. Take that good stuff from it. Yeah. But your good stuff has come from it because you've written your own material, and is that quite a big, I'm just kind of wondering about, is there a different technique? Is there a different mentality that goes into performing other people's songs versus presenting your own material to the world?
Do you know what? I don't think there is. Because when I take a song and I perform it, I make sure that I love the song first. And there's only a handful of songs that I do perform and want to perform. So I kind of make the covers my own. So it's like, oh, damn it, I wish this song was mine. But they genuinely feel like my own songs. So when they're part of a set of my own original songs, they feel like my babies anyway, So it's a good match.
And so you've got a new single out at the moment called
Bones.
Buy it now on all
streaming platforms, any you could wish for. Get on there.
Get on there. So tell me about that song, because it's quite a personal song.
Do you know what it is? And I'm sitting on loads of songs right now that are coming out and I am releasing.
Get them out, girl. Come on.
I will. I've got a covers coming out soon. Every month I'm releasing a cover as well. But this song's just about growing up and wanting to become someone that I looked up to, like my younger self. I kind of was like, in 5 years, I want to look up to my older self and think, oh my God, I want to be her, And I can genuinely say now, I can do that. But it's got references to my hometown and my mum and just kind of wanting to spread my wings a bit, I think, but in a nice way. Because I love where I come from, but I love where I'm going, sort of thing. So that's that, and it's only 79p. So
bargain, not 80p. 79p.
You've got 21 pence change for £1 if you spend it. So
I love that. So what's the future? So you've got the single coming out and all this amazing music that you've created yourself. So it sounds exciting. So you come from that darker place. The future's looking rosy. Are you excited?
Yeah.
You're excited.
Honestly, I'm so excited. But I'm not just sitting back waiting for things to happen like everyone else is doing everything for me. This is hard work, and I'm only glad that I've got my family around me, because my dad, bless him, sits behind the computer for quite a few hours every day, looking at my emails, getting in contact with everyone while I'm like at shows or working. But no, I'm really grateful for the support my family's given me, because if they weren't there behind the scenes, I wouldn't be as far on as I am now. I probably would have given up a long time ago, to be honest, but yeah.
Oh, shout out to Mum and Dad.
Yeah, Mum and Dad. Team H.
Team H. Good luck with it all, Molly. The future is so bright for you. I'm excited for you. Take care. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you for having me on.
Dans ses bois, elle me parlait tout bas. Je vois la vie en roses. Il me dit des mots d'amour. Elle m'aulait tous les jours. Et ça ne fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur, l'on est donné bonheur, dont je connais la cause. C'est oui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, le j'aurai pour le vivre. Anyone want some French kisses tonight? C'est oui pour moi, always be la vie.
So our next guest is the lovely Faye Edwardes, who is the founder of the Positive Living Movement and is a positive psychology master coach. So welcome, Faye.
Hello, thank you very much.
So nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We've just been chatting in the green room. Oh my goodness, I'm so fired up for positivity just from spending half an hour with you. And you're also co-author of a new book.
I am.
You've got here. It's called From the Ashes, She is Ignited. And this is your second book.
That's right, yes,
Gosh.
number 2.
So tell me, what is positive living?
So the positive living movement was born out of my own studying of positive psychology, and positive psychology was based in psychology, and it's only about 20 years old as a science, and it is a science, and psychologists kind of throughout the world said, we don't want to, psychology focuses on what's wrong with people and how to fix it, whereas positive psychology is all about strengths theory, focusing on what you're good at, what you thrive at, and how you can make the most of that, and then the impact that can have on your mental health, on your well-being, and your general level of happiness and joy in life itself.
And that makes total sense, doesn't it, really? Instead of trying to eradicate the things that are not good, if you do more of the things that are good, and you recognise those within you, then you won't have time to do the stuff that isn't so good if you're totally focused on that.
And what we also do is we spend so much time beating ourselves up for the things that we're not good at. And we have these self-perpetuating beliefs. I'm a bad driver, I'm not good at spreadsheets or accounting. And in actual fact, when we realise the things that we're really good at, the more time we spend doing those, the more we can outsource or spend less time trying to improve at the things that aren't our strengths.
And this is a point I want to pick up on. We were talking about this earlier. If we all went around saying, I'm really good at this, I'm really good at that, I really like doing this, because sometimes people look at that and say, oh, you're boasting or you're full of yourself or so. So how do we manage that and those people? Because it's lovely to be super, super positive, but there are skeptics out there who say, well, actually, is this just made up? So
it's so true, and there is toxic positivity is a thing. You know, we come across it, and I've come across other people saying, you know, is this part of toxic positivity? The way I approach it is, like I was saying to you before off camera, is that I am a positive person. I always have been. It's in my nature, and it's really helped me get through things. And so what I wanted to understand is, where does this come from? You know, does it actually work? If we have glass half full, if we have positive thoughts about things, if we try and reframe things in a positive way, is it going to make a difference to the way I approach life? And I had my own personal growth journey started in about 2016. I'd moved from London to Cornwall, had some massive, massive business issues. And I knew that I needed to know more about myself. I knew I needed to dig deeper. I nearly lost an awful lot of money and some property. So I started reaching out for the things. I had no idea at the time what was going to help me. So I became a meditation leader. I became a Reiki practitioner, a sound therapist. And I read a book by a lady called Nick Pidgeon called Now Is Your Chance. And it was the thing that resonated with me the most. And it said, everything is a choice. We can take control of how we feel every single day. And I was like, oh, this is it. And so it's not about not being real. It's not about being fake. It's about saying, I know these things are going to happen in life. You know, tragedy, death, serious illness, bankruptcy, financial losses, they're going to happen to us all in various levels at some point in our life. And it's the way that we respond to those things that makes the difference. And it's the coping mechanisms that you have that make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask, you know, the difference between, because you can't always be happy. There is a theory that to enjoy happiness and to experience happiness, you need relativity. So you also need to be able to reference what sadness is and so on. So is positive living all about being happy all the time, or is it, as you say,
Absolutely
how you
not.
deal with
No.
the sad times as well?
It's honouring how we actually feel. So it's saying, today I'm feeling really low. I am. This thing has made me feel low, whatever it might have been. What can I do to improve that? And I'm honouring that feeling. I'm letting those feelings come through. It's the same with our children. This thing happened today at school. It made me really sad. It made me really upset. And it's never, ever about invalidating that. It's about saying, absolutely, you know, we do have these emotions. Now, what shall we do next? Do you want to go for a long walk by the sea? Shall we do some baking together? Shall we go for a swim? Shall we play Scrabble? Acknowledging that we honour that feeling, and then we're going to do something that does fill our cup and that does help us start to have something fun or jolly. Maybe we dance around the kitchen. Maybe we do something really energetic. So it's never about being happy all the time.
And in that way, you are sort of dealing with the people who say, well, are you being fake? You know, because you're not being fake. You're saying, well, actually, that was sad. However, that was then, and then we moved on and we did this. So it's sad, and it all just sounds so easy, and on one level free. You know, it's a free therapy, isn't it? You can just do it yourself.
It's really fun that you
mentioned. I'm
mentioned.
going to smile and be happy.
Yeah, free, because my values, freedom is my guiding values, and with our values, we get to choose them. So in positive psychology, we really focus on what are our values, and values are your guiding principles. So you can have a list and you can just pick the things that resonate with you. So it might be authenticity, generosity, freedom, fun, ambition, growth, progression. You literally find the 5, say, that resonate most with you. And freedom was the one for me. And that's freedom of everything. Freedom of thought, freedom of movement, freedom from financial restriction, freedom of growth, but also freedom to say, I am being real. This is my version of real, and I don't have to kind of fit myself into other people's version. And when people do talk about, you know, are you sure have you got feelings? You know, are you really coping? When I started my growth journey, one thing I did was read, and I found people that really inspired me. And these were people who had been through horrific accidents and illnesses, and they'd lost limbs, and there they were able to say, this terrible, terrible thing happened to me. This is what I did. And whatever tools they reached out to, and now this is how I approach life. And they then become motivational speakers, inspirational people. And I was thinking, well, if they can, having faced this huge adversity, then, you know, I can too. And we don't have to dwell in that doom and gloom mentality.
No, absolutely. And I want to talk about growth now. We were talking about this in the green room. So, and this brings us on to your book. So we all know what post-traumatic stress is. Some of us might have experienced it. But you talk about post-traumatic growth, which is something that is less well known, but it seems to be more popular in some ways, perhaps, or as popular.
I think
it's post-traumatic stress.
It's been recognised a lot recently, and what happens is after trauma, we then go into this phase of recovery, into this phase of what can I do now? And you almost get to this crossroads, and you can either choose to be doom and gloom and negative, or you can say, I know that I've got the choice here. And I think taking responsibility and ownership is something that is so vital at this point, and saying, I'm not waiting for external influences to come in. There is no magic wand. There's no saviour. There's no hero. Or actually, the hero is me.
And not blaming people
for
either the trauma or the recovery. Accepting that
being free of being a victim and looking for somebody to blame, saying, I know this is my chance now. And you go through this huge period of growth, because as soon as you start feeling better and you realise that when you eat better, when you move, when you get great sleep, when you surround yourself with people who make you thrive and vibe and feel amazing, you start going, wow, you know, this is making massive difference. I'm going to do more of this. Then you take in the information, and the one most amazing thing that most people get is, I need to share this.
Yes.
You know, I know that this is so powerful for so many other people. I want other people to be able to apply this to their lives as well.
And tell us about the book then, because this is the sharing. Here it is.
Yeah, here it is. So I wrote a chapter for this book here, From the Ashes, She Is Ignited. And it was brought together by an amazing lady called Louise Herridge, who is the founder of a business called Mamas Ignited. And she was a teacher. An English teacher, or a senior leadership management role in a school. And she'd come out of an abusive relationship, a domestic abusive relationship. And she had a period of post-traumatic growth where she also went, there's more to life than this. I've got something that I want to be able to share with other people. She started this movement, and she then said she also did the same thing. She read as much as she could, and she wrote a book and got masses and masses of positive feedback, and then said, I'm surrounded by women who have these amazing stories. They're not necessarily in a place where they want to write a whole book themselves, but the power of bringing 8 of them together. And in this book, I talk about my financial losses and the risks that I took. There's people who've had their own cancer stories, there's child loss, there's infertility. And all of these women have gone, I went through this horrendous thing. And then I realised it was the start of a journey for me that meant there was these huge opportunities and things out there where I could go and push myself and move through everything. And so as a collective, the power of that is incredible.
Amazing. And you can see on the cover, it looks like a powerful read, doesn't it?
She chose it, it's a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah, we talk about the phoenix quite a lot. Lou and I talk about our phoenix moments. And well, I don't know whether I've had mine yet, but hopefully.
There doesn't have to be just one. There can be many. Yeah,
moments.
and they're stronger and stronger each time.
Yes. So this is available on Amazon.
It is, yeah, on Amazon. From the Ashes, She Is Ignited.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you, Faye. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. The energy in this room and studio today is fantastic. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolute pleasure. I'm so happy to have been here. Thank you.
So welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Alison Theaker from Live Life For Me. We're so excited to have Alison back on the show because with her partner Anne, they have created an online course to talk to men about the menopause.
Amazing.
What a genius idea was that.
And let's be clear here, this is about women's menopause. It's not talking to the men about the male menopause.
Oh, hang on a minute. What is that thing?
Well, apparently it is.
Right.
We're not necessarily in that. We're not concerned with that.
Right, okay.
They've got enough. But there is a disagreement about whether it happens or not. But they don't have the same they don't really have the same kind of relationship with their hormones as we do, I think. So yeah, talking to men, it's for men. So it's addressed to men, and it's actually explaining what the menopause is to them.
This is really, really interesting because when you last came on the show, we were about 2 years ago.
Yes.
And not many people were talking about menopause at the time. And we've seen this huge growth in it being a point of discussion. And we're now, which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And people can be a lot more open about it. But this next stage, the education of the men around it, this is brilliant. It's so important.
What gave you the idea? Was it something in your own life then? Sorry to talk.
No, do you know what was really interesting was because when we came here, we didn't even know anything about Cornwall Channel. So we kind of went, this is quite a nice place. So we came back and we did the course for women. And I think it was, there were days and days and the guys were all, doing their business and stuff like that. And there was one day, I think it was Mike actually, and we were talking about vaginal dryness. And we were like saying to him, you got the short straw there, didn't you, Mike? We've just been talking about this for half a day. And he's like, actually, it's quite interesting. And then we kind of came up with this idea that there wasn't anything out there at all that talked to men about what menopause is. So in that sense, it was just as mysterious to them. They still really didn't know, what was going on.
And it's vital that they understand because it impacts them because there's women around them and women are going through these changes and it's important that they understand what is happening and how they can help us and how we can help them.
Well, vaginal dryness is a perfect example, isn't it? Because the chap, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a male-female relationship, or your partner, could just go, there's something wrong with me because this is happening to my female partner.
Or if they're not kind of interested in sex as they were before,
which is a
because
thing,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing because it's one of those things that's not talked about a lot. So if women are kind of saying, oh, it's just uncomfortable and the rest of it, oh, it must be me, what's going on, I don't want to do it. But then you're not actually going to go out and talk to somebody about it. And the other thing to be aware of course, is as we say on our course, is like, because it's really for men who are working with women and who are living with women.
Say that as well.
So if you're working with women, it's not really something you're going to be bringing up at the team meeting. How's your vaginal dryness, darling?
But things that might be brought up is like, oh, you missed that meeting last week, or is everything okay? We can see you're not quite on your A game.
Yeah. And I think it is one of those things because it was really good actually doing it here with the three guys because we were using them as the informal focus group really. We're like saying, would you explain? Does this explain it to you? Is this okay? Does this sound patronising? Is this like too much? So it was quite good. And of course, let's go into stereotypes here that men quite often like to fix things.
Yes.
So what we're saying is, it's not their job to fix women's menopause. That's the first thing. So it's not their fault, it's not their job to fix it. But here's to be aware of what might go on. So this woman that you know or that you've been living with for however long might suddenly seem like a different person. What is going on? And we also talk about that thing, with yourself, you kind of think, oh right, I don't think anybody noticed that. Or I think, because you don't know. But people around you, your friends are the ones that are going to be telling you, blimey, you really are irritable. You used to be like this really easygoing person, but this is kind of going on. But you think you've handled it. So for the men, it's to say, you know what, maybe you have to, and it, depending on how your relationship is, gently suggest, that there is something going on, and is there something that you can do?
And there's a real fine balance here, isn't there? Because there is being on the receiving end of that as a woman, you might think, oh God, she's being critical, or he's being controlling, or so on.
Yeah, we're very
so there's
quick.
There's a really fine balance in being able to say, oh darling, actually this, without it sounding like, oh, you're doing that.
Can you sort it out, please?
Can you sort it out? I mean, it's a really tricky line to...
It was wonderful. We had somebody come up to us at a networking meeting, and this woman she said, oh yeah, my husband doesn't believe in menopause.
Oh, okay.
And we're going, that's an interesting position.
Where do you go from there?
Okay. He's just women just making a fuss about stuff.
Oh God. Okay.
And
going,
on one level, it's different, but it's a similar thing to young girls going through puberty.
It's the opposite end.
It's just the opposite end, and we've accepted for years that teenagers can be a bit tricky.
But think about it. Back when certainly we were teenagers, it wasn't really. I mean, periods were embarrassing back when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Now it's not. So in that sort of however many years it is between I was been a teenager, quite a few. Things have normalised and changed, and we're in that process now with the menopause, aren't we? So,
and I think the difficulty, what I see, is that we've kind of come from not talking about it at all, and then there's been a few women who've shared their experience of it. Now, for whatever reason, those women have mostly taken the decision to take HRT, which is great, and it's good that it's available. But what's now happened is that when people talk about menopause, that seems to be the default position. And what we're about is saying it's a choice as long as you actually know what you're doing, and I kind of describe it as quite often if you don't really know that you've been in perimenopause, that's the period before, and as I say, the whole thing start to finish should be 4 years. And then it's like, so, all right, so you're suddenly feeling like, oh my God, I just can't cope with this any longer, because we've done that British stiff upper lip thing. All right, I'll just keep, I'll just keep sorting it. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm just mopping myself up, here with towels, and I've got to, all this kind of stuff. Get up in the middle of the night and change, whatever. And it's like that's really not acceptable. But you get to the point where you think it's just so awful. It's affecting my life so badly that you go to the doctor, and that's probably what they're going to give you. And as I always describe it, as like, you're not going to, when your house is on fire, you're not going to be ringing up the fire brigade saying, can you give me a new smoke alarm? You're saying, come round with the hoses right now. So because we don't talk about it until whenever. I mean, we're into planning. You should be thinking about this from your mid-30s, just to be aware of it, not to panic about it, but just to say, okay, what is going on with me? How should I, you know, when it kind of happens, because let's face it, and I think I said this before, I think you like this line, you know, you either go through the menopause or you die early. You know, so we're hoping, and look at me, you know, in a sense of, you know, the menopause is this period, but then we've got a third of our lives after that, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
So it's a bit jumbled here, but it was like that whole thing of, if you kind of get HRT, which is it's a big thing, and it's a, you know, and there are protocols with any drug, and at the moment it's like, it may be the kind of, they always give it the smallest dose for the least amount of time. And that is changing. 5 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever. So you, at the very least, have to have a plan B. So you need to kind of know what will happen when you stop taking it. So that's kind of for women. But what we're saying is that information is power. So get all that information. And it could be, I mean, it's like, I always kind of link it to like, when I had my first child, it was like I went to the NCT classes and I had all the information about it, had my birth plan written out, and I got in there and, like, you know, 12 hours later, give me the epidural, and get him out, because it was nice to have him out. So it's good to have the information, and then you might decide, I'm going to go this way or this way. Similarly, for men, so we're saying you should not suffer menopause. It's like it's suffering. We're not into suffering.
And it's demystifying it as well for them, because we're just going through a process now of actually demystifying menopause for ourselves, really, which is why it's everywhere. So let's get those men on board so that they understand. But what we don't want as well, going back to the HRT, is if they have a little bit of information. So, for example, you know, the guys could go, oh, she looks like she's having the menopause. You need to go and get, literally, that would be their stop, go and get HRT. Yeah. It's bigger than that. Yes. There's more to it than that.
It's not right for all women. I think it's about 60% of women have symptoms bad enough that they would take time off work. So you've got 40% of women who may not, you know, and I've met some, and they can say, oh, I was really lucky. Great, that's it. So 40% of women, it's fine. So then it's like, and those 60% are going to have a range of them. So it may be that there's something else you could use that you don't have to use. Because HRT is the thing, it takes a while to land, you know, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. Hormone replacement therapy, that's what it does. And we're saying, actually, women don't have to suffer, but neither do the men that work or live with them.
And some guys could really suffer. I mean, I know that we haven't really touched on it, but the mental health side, it's not just the physical symptoms, it's the mental health side of it. And that was my story, you know, that it was all of that kind of thing. Yeah. And like you say, if as a guy, your husband has always known you to be for 20 odd years or whatever, to be this sort of, and then you suddenly almost overnight become something else, then they suffer.
It's not a kind of thing that kind of happens every day the same. One day you're here, then you're here, then you're here. So it's like suddenly you're fine, and then the next day you're not fine.
It must be quite confusing.
It's chaotic.
And also, I mean, we're talking here about educating men that we work with or live with or are in our family and friendship groups, but also children as well. So I'm perimenopausal. I've also got two 5-year-olds, and I'm sure there are days where they think, oh, gosh, what's happened to mummy? You know, what's going on? They're a bit young yet to talk about the detail, but I think educating
and it's just normalising it all.
Normalising
it all, isn't it, for everybody in society?
Yeah, I mean, I love, there's a story that Anne has about somebody who came to her in her clinic, and it was a woman who arrived, and she kind of went, you know, this is all kind of going on for me. My husband sent me here. So it was when she was she was homeopathic. It's a homeopathic clinic. He sent me here, and I've got however many 6 months. And if this doesn't work, then he's made an appointment with a divorce lawyer. Because essentially what he said to her was, I love you, but you know what, this has been going, I think it'd been going on for 13 years. And he just said, it's my life too, and I just can't handle it anymore, and I can't live the rest of my life like this.
I mean, that's actually sad.
Yeah.
So it's very sad,
shocking at
but
first.
The end of the story was
surprising.
good. The end of the story was good because they realised that what it was for her was a hormone imbalance. They kind of managed to treat her and sort her out. That's fine, it got better. And they got this lovely letter from him saying, thank you, I've got my wife back.
Oh, that's so lovely.
And so it's important.
So is this course going to be online then?
Yeah, how do we
It's
find
online,
let's-
it's on
find it?
Udemy. It's on Udemy, and I mean, I think it'd be interesting because it's a video course, so guys can look at it in the privacy of their own home, as it were, you know, or whatever it is. And the first 10 minutes, I think, is like a little free preview, so they can say, are we going to take advice from these two women, or are we like, no, we'll go somewhere else? But they can kind of get a flavour of what it is. And it's about 50 minutes long, and it just really says the main things they need to know, and it goes through the main symptoms and things that could be possible, you know, because it may be that the women that they're living with, working with, don't know that there are different options. So it's like saying, here's a some options that you could offer sensitively. If it's a work colleague, it may be that you're going to get HR involved or something. Because you don't want to be having somebody coming up to you saying,
the water cooler.
how are you doing, darling?
A lot of workplaces are now, they have a menopause coordinator.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I've been going back into London, going to the office, and we talk about it.
Great.
In the team.
Yeah.
And
that's a huge step forward.
It's brilliant.
That's a huge step forward.
Yeah.
Well, everybody needs to look at this on udemy.com.
Yes, I think if they go to our website, which is livelifeforme.org, then there's a link to the course, and then they can just go in and they can see both the men and the women's
Brilliant,
course.
absolutely brilliant. Alison, thank you again for coming back in to talk to us.
Thank you.
pleasure.
We'll have to get you
Pleasure
back in
as always.
a few months as well for an update and see how things have
Yeah,
developed
exactly.
even more.
I know. Who knows? All the men will be totally educated. I'm sure.
Yes, brilliant. How important are your regular health checks? Do you turn up for your appointments even if you're feeling well and you think that there's nothing wrong? You've been going to the gym, looking after yourself. Is it worth going? Well, our resident wellness expert, Lucy Blenkinsop, has got first-hand experience of why it's so important to get yourself along to those appointments. Here's Lucy to tell us more.
Good morning, my name is Lucy and I'm a friend of Thinking Women, and I'm here today to bring us some awareness to bowel cancer. I was diagnosed with bowel cancer out of the blue. I did one of those postal tests, a random postal test. I had no symptoms and it came back positive, and I then had a colonoscopy, and then I needed some surgery. So I had surgery in January, sort of 5-6 months ago, and had some lymph nodes taken out, had the tumour taken out obviously, and no other treatment was necessary. So they caught it pretty early in terms of not spreading, but that also could have attributed to my healthy lifestyle. I'm a yoga teacher, and so I do keep active every day. And I also am very careful with my diet. So obviously I was very surprised that I got bowel cancer. I couldn't believe it, in fact. It's like, I don't drink, I don't eat meat, I'm active, I'm not sedentary, I don't smoke. You know, all the reasons why you would get bowel cancer, I don't do. So it was very unexpected. So it made me realise that literally anyone can get cancer, because if I can get cancer, then it can, it can affect anyone. So I was lucky in respect, say it was caught early, though the tumour had been there a couple of years. From the very size of it, it hadn't spread. So I was lucky in that respect. So also because I was fit and healthy and slim, slimish, I should say, the rebound from the surgery, because there was a sort of 7 centimetre incision, so that could, if you were very overweight, or that would obviously have bigger impact. But for me, I bounced back pretty soon. I was back swimming in the sea within 3-4 weeks, and now 6 months later I'm absolutely as normal. No one would even know. In fact, you can hardly even see the scar, though it's slightly misshapen, but my belly isn't going to be like it was, but okay, that doesn't really matter. So the one thing I've done a lot of research, obviously, because I'm also a health coach as well as a yoga coach as well as a life coach. So I've done lots of research, and what I've realised is that I wasn't eating enough fibre. Now, when you look at the bowel cancer site, you're meant to be eating 30 grams of fibre a day, which is almost impossible. And despite the fact I was eating a plant-based diet with skins on and fruit and, lots of vegetables, lots of oats, lots of grains, there's no way that you can eat 30 grams. I mean, a bowl of porridge is only 4 grams. So there's no hope of getting 30. So now I'm taking psyllium husk supplement, 20 grams of that a day, which is quite a lot, in order to get my 30 grams. So really, I would say the one thing that I would really look out for is your fibre intake, apart from your general well-being. So if you have any questions, please do find me on Instagram or chat through Thinking Women, because it's really important that, especially, it's very common over women over 60 to get cancer. But the thing is, we can't necessarily prevent it, but what we can do is get in the best shape we can, so that when we get these curveballs, we can bounce back. And that's kind of what I've done, and that's what I'm helping other women do. So if you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a lovely day.
So thank you very much to all our guests. It's been such a fun day, hasn't it?
Brilliant.
Being back
It's
in the studio.
so good to be back.
Yeah, a bit of a laugh, and yeah, it's just been so
It's
great
fun.
and positive. So thanks to Faye for bringing that dose of energy to us and for that lovely interview. Thank you to Lucy as well for her interview.
And thanks to Alison for all the information. She's vital information she's given us for men, and the beautiful, lovely, lovely Molly Hocking for coming and singing for us too. So don't forget, we've got a website, www.thinkingwomen.co.uk. So have a look on there, and please sign up to our newsletter. We've got a newsletter coming too for that extra dose of inspiration.
Yes, and of course we're on Facebook and Instagram, so catch us on there, and YouTube. We're on YouTube now, aren't we?
Subscribe to YouTube and take part in our competition to win the photo shoot. It's an amazing competition. So that's it for another episode, and we'll see you
next time. Bye.